We just saw earlier today Vice President Kamala Harris come out and surprise to everybody. But how did you feel when she came out onto that stage?
I just felt like I was looking at the epitome of womanhood. She looked good, she sounded good, she just bounced back. She had some great words for us, and I just think the sister's awesome.
I want to talk about women in policy and in legislation. What are some of the challenges, especially and particularly for Black women, with the seat that you chair and running your district? What are some of the challenges that you face? Is it harder for women than it is for men?
Well, let's just talk about South Carolina a little bit, and thank you for having me here today. And that question, we are a supermajority in both the House and the Senate, which means that we are very few. We have very few women. In our Senate, we only have 2 females. They're both Democrats. And over on the House side, we have 5 African-American women, and we have a few other persuasion. But it just says that instead of moving forward, we're moving backwards. But that means there are opportunities. And I think that through these times that we can use these opportunities to grow together, and we can have a different version of the civil rights. You know, during the civil rights movement, we had the small businesses, we had the funeral homes, we had the barbershops, we had the little convenience stores on the corner, and a lot of those things have been absent from our communities. So I think we can use this as an opportunity to pull together and show our power and our strength. I think we can build as it relates to economics. I sit on the agricultural committee in the State House. I'm going to do all I can to reach out to those in my district. My district is rural, so that they can take advantage of agriculture, and all the funds that are there that currently just kind of sit in Washington. And we need to bring it to our communities, and that's one of the things I'll be working on.
Let's talk about rural America, because there was a session on yesterday and they were saying we need to switch up our language sometimes when we're talking to people. And many times we're not talking to those who live in rural communities. So what are some strategies that you think, well, first of all, do you agree with that? And then if so, what are some strategies that you think people need to start incorporating?
Well, again, I'm going to start with the State House. We are working on trying to get our rural caucus back started. We had one years ago. Of course, I won't be chairing it because I'm going to be chairing the Legislative Black Caucus. But I've been talking to some of my colleagues across the aisle, and they're excited because they are in rural communities. And as we put interstates in place, then the vehicles, the traffic that was coming through our small rural communities, they're not coming there anymore. So I think that's to start off. And then as it relates to what we can do within those communities, as I stated earlier, take advantage of economic development. Take advantage of, heirs property. We need to figure out how we can take that property and make money and not let it just sit there, or let one family member come, sue the estate, and then it goes off to, it leaves the family.
I don't think a lot of people really understand. I've done a lot of reporting on Black families losing land, losing property. It's crazy, beautiful property down by the water property. I mean, just losing it, and why our families need to understand, first of all, what we have. Whether we have deed, how we have secured our legacy, right? Has that been how much of a concern has that been for you? Because when it comes to land, I was talking with John Boyd, who's over Black farmers, and he was like, I mean, you wouldn't believe how much land the Black community is losing.
We are losing, we're losing. And I tell you, in South Carolina particularly, I own several parcels, and I've been getting all kind of letters offering to buy, wanting to buy. But I'm trying to encourage people, even if you decide to sell, try to sell to someone within that community so that land continue to be owned by the persons who purchased it, so their legacy in some form can still continue. In South Carolina, we started with Hilton Head. Huge concern how land owned by Blacks
was taken. Which was originally Black.
Yes. And I'm here in Charleston. They're taking up Charleston. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were telling me that downtown is now about 20% African American. I stayed there 6 years ago, and I could see the movement of where white Americans were coming in and taking the land.
Gentrifying, and that's DC. That is DC all day, every day.
Exactly. So we've got to get the story out there, and we got to let our people know that land you cannot get anymore. What's here is here.
And as
so
well.
if it's in your family, but there's a coalition, heirs property coalition in South Carolina, and I've been working with some of my elected officials to see if we can get them to move from the low country further north in South Carolina, so that we can do more educating about how you can take this land and use it for wealth. And then you can distribute that amongst the family members versus coming in and you selling it and it's gone from that family forever. It's gone from the black community forever.
And I mean, it's all boiling down to economic opportunity and development.
Absolutely.
And ensuring that black folk are in on these major contracts that are coming to the areas, which even in the state of Maryland, that was an issue for a while, but there's been legislation that's been put forth to make sure that Maryland fulfills the promise to black contractors. Yes. How is that in South Carolina when it comes to black businesses?
Well, one of the things that we've been discussing, which will be incorporated as part of my legacy as the chair of the Black Caucus, is helping small businesses get certified so that they can get these contracts and not have to worry at the time the contract comes open, do I have what it takes? And then encouraging them to work together. If it's a large contract, you have a few small businesses, if you work together, then you can get those contracts and you can do more with them. Our community, so often we've been charged with, separation. What's mine is mine. I want to keep it from you. Yeah. Keep your hands closed. So if there's nothing coming in, nothing's going out. So we want to try to change that mindset so that we can understand what wealth means and how wealth can help our families and how we can pass wealth down from generation to generation instead of just what we have today. We want to be able to teach people how to fish versus give them a fish. So I think that's going to be real good for our Black Caucus.
What does wealth mean to you? Like, the theme of this conference was rebuilding the American dream. I've heard some people say, we don't need to rebuild, we need to redefine what that means. Some people say we need to find a whole nother dream. So when it comes to wealth to you, especially as chair of Black Caucus, what does that look like? And what is the charge that you have to those who are looking to you for leadership?
Well, I think so many years have gone past that our people have just not been educated. And when you're not educated about what you can obtain, and when you don't have that hope, then you tend to say, well, you know what, then why bother? So I think we got to start teaching, and what we're going to try to do is start teaching individuals about knowing that when you have money, how to invest it, how to put it in financially sound investments, make sure that you have life insurance. So when you pass, your children can have, they can have something to build upon. When you go to college, you're not going to college just to learn to be able to be somebody else's employee. You're going to college so you can learn how to build for yourself and have that persona, so that when you go out for contracts, people take you serious.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot in there, but I tell you, the economic boom is our time. It's our time, and we should not sit back and feel that because the person we wanted elected didn't get there, that we got to cry. No, we need to bounce back, and we need to show them if we made it through slavery, we made it through the civil rights, we can make it through this next era that's coming.
All right, Chairwoman, look, I love it.